Hello, facilitators. Welcome back. Here is yet another English Grade 6 PBL based upon the chapter Neerja Bhanot, Brave in Life. And the concept that we will be discussing today is all about article reading. Now, before we begin with our PBL, let me just remind you why are PBLs implemented in classrooms for our learners. PBLs basically focuses on the experiential learning of each and every learner, and it enhances the various skills and intelligence that a learner is supposed to apply. Now, with these PBLs, there is an expansion of knowledge where the learners engage and explore the world around them. With that, let us begin. Article reading is the concept that we are going to cover in today's PBL. The learning objectives are mainly the learners are going to research about newspapers, they will understand the parts of an article, and as there is a reading passage, they will try to comprehend and answer the questions for the reading passage. What are the learning outcomes? Now, the learning outcomes helps the learner to finally understand why the PBL for this particular concept was taken place. Now, it reads to seek information from notice boards, newspaper, internet, tables, charts, diagrams, and maps. It responds to the variety of questions on familiar and unfamiliar texts, verbally and in writing. The learner will be able to write grammatically correct sentences for a variety of situations using noun, pronoun, verb, adverb, etc. And the learner will be able to drafts and revises the short passages based on verbal, print, and visual clues. Now, these learning objectives and outcomes are purely based upon the DSCRT and NCRT books. Moving on. We always have a leading question. Now, in this case, the leading question is, what's in a newspaper? Now, there are possibilities for the learner to get engaged, and these are the multiple questions that would pop up in the minds of the learners. What is happening around me? What is happening around the world? How do we have fun by playing games? Let's have fun reading cartoons, and much more. Moving on to activity 1, newspaper treasure hunt. Now, this is a very interesting activity because the learners have to find a newspaper in their home. What they see on the page 1 is what they are going to draw in the space given below. So, the learners have to pick up their newspaper. It can be any kind of an article. It can be related to sports or what's happening within the country or what is happening around them, or it can also be the weather report. So the learners have to draw what they find first. Isn't it an interesting activity? Hope your learners are going to enjoy doing this. Moving on, as facilitators, you can brief your learners about what a newspaper is all about. A newspaper gives us information about everything that is happening around us. It does so through many things called articles. So, here we go. We are going to introduce the topic of articles by means of a newspaper. A newspaper article is a piece of writing in a newspaper that tells us about something that happened recently. It gives us information about events, people, or things that are important or interesting. A newspaper is full of articles. This is how an article in the newspaper looks like, and you can always get a sample of an actual newspaper and show it to the learners to make them understand or give them the clarity of how a newspaper article looks. Moving ahead, we have activity 2. Let's find out. Now, the learners have to find out what a newspaper is from the elders at home. If you find out anything interesting, they can always write down. Now, the possible answers that the learners can come up with are national news, what is happening around them, international news, what is happening around the world, sports news, what kind of fun games can be played, entertainment news, let's read some cartoons and have fun. Weather reports to check how's the weather today and how are we feeling today. So these are the possible interesting news or articles they can find from a newspaper or from the elders at home. A newspaper has many parts, and four main parts are as follows. First, we have the heading. The heading of an article is always given in big, bold letters. Then we have the subheading. The subheading of an article is a little smaller than the heading and appears just below the heading. Then we have the photo. The photo shows us what is happening in the article or what the article is all about. And finally, we have the body, which tells us the main details of the article. So this can be read out to our learners by showing the sample of the newspaper. Now, following that particular section, we have let's match newspapers. So the learners have to keep newspaper samples next to them and they have to answer the following questions. They have to look at the heading given in big bold letters and they have to write what the article is all about. So the learners can choose a section of the article from the newspaper and they can write the heading from the newspaper that is with them. In the next section, they have to write the subheading, which is a little smaller than the heading and appears just below the heading, has shown, and it tells us little more about what the article is about. So the learners can find the subheading of the article and they can write it in the space given below. Then moving on to the body, which tells us the main details of the article. So the learners can find the body of the article that they have found the heading and subheading, and they can cut and paste the body in the box or the blank given. And lastly, there is the photo section where photos usually show us what is happening in the article or what the article is all about. So again, the learners can cut the photo of the article that they have followed through and they can cut and paste it in the space given below. Next, moving on, we have a reading comprehension. Now, reading passages, it helps us to enhance the reading and listening skills of the learners. So, as facilitators, I hope we are all ready to read the following article, which is all about trouble with monkeys at Tumakuru Park. Sounds interesting? So, let's read. In Tumakuru, Karnataka, a man who sells fruit at Tumakuru Park faced a big problem when many monkeys came down from the trees and took his bananas. The man, Mr. Raju, felt very worried as the monkeys ran away with his special bananas. Mr. Raju called the police for help because he didn't know what to do. the police called a special team that knew about animals. They came quickly and helped by making the monkeys go to another part of the park where they would be safe. Because of the fast help from the police and the animal team, Mr. Raju got his bananas back. People should be careful about the monkeys in the park to stop this from happening again. So, isn't that a small, short article which indicated the trouble with monkeys at Tumukuru Park, and it was faced by a banana fruit vendor, Mr. Raju. Now, once you're done with reading the article, you can guide your students with the questions that's given below. You may read the question and direct your learners to find the answers from the passage given above. Moving on, we have activity 5 where the learners have to create an article. Now we write articles to talk about important events around us. Think about the most important event that has happened in your school. So, facilitators, you can direct your learners to think about any special event that has taken place in the school, and you can ask the learners to follow the parts of the article, which starts off with heading, subheading, body, and last they can also attach a photograph with the help of you teachers. So the learners are supposed to write a small article about a special event that has taken place in the school recently, following the different parts of the newspaper article. Facilitators, you may also encourage your learners to be creative and motivate them that the best article will be published in the school magazine or the school newspaper, or you can also encourage or motivate your learners by saying that the articles of every student will be displayed on the notice board. This would motivate the students to come forward and complete this activity successfully. As we come towards the end of the PBL, we always find a practice sheet. Now, what are practice sheets? They are a set of questions followed by options. Now, you may read the questions and the options and guide or wait for the learners to reflect upon the questions read and provide the answers. Now, once the answers are provided, you may give the explanation for the same. The answers can be bubbled or can be shaded in the OMR sheet. As we all know, OMR sheets, they give a live experience to our learners, and they also encourage the learners to know and get prepared for future exams. So OMR sheets are nothing but they are bubbles which are for the four options A, B, C, D, followed by the practice sheet, and the learners can shade the answers, the correct option or the correct answers in the OMR sheet, and these OMR sheets are mainly used for multiple choice questions, and as I mentioned earlier, it gives a full experience, a live experience for our learners in the classroom. For the complete solution to all the practice sheets provided at the end of each PBL, teachers please refer to Teachopia and you may follow the path that's given below. With that, we come to an end with yet another PBL implementation support video. Thank you.